Are you thinking about building an ADU at your house? I'm Jane. I'm a realtor based in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and each week I put out a different video about living in the Metro West area.
I'm Dee Dee. I'm also a realtor living in Wellesley. I'm on Jane's team. I moved here it's been almost 12 years ago and have loved it. I've loved living in Wellesley.
So each week we put out a different video featuring a different town, different price point to help educate you about moving to Greater Boston. And today we're going to do something a little bit different, because we're going to talk about ADUs, which are an accessory dwelling unit, and we're going to call this part 1 because at my house, we are actually building an ADU right now. So there'll be a part 2 where I'll give you a tour.
And I get this question quite a lot, Jane, about ADUs. And so that was what gave us the idea to do this video. So many people are interested and maybe they just don't know where to start.
So whether you're looking for extra income, space for family, or just more flexibility at home, we're going to walk you through what an ADU is, why they're becoming so popular, especially in Massachusetts.
This is very recent due to some legislation that was passed, which is great. So basics on what is an ADU. So as Jane said, an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It is a smaller, more self-contained home on the same lot as your current home, as your primary home. Think about it like a guest house, a basement apartment, something maybe a garage studio over your garage, that space above your garage space, or a backyard cottage. Something like that would be what an ADU would be.
And in January 2025, our governor passed a rule that said anyone can build an accessory dwelling unit on their single family property, which was previously not allowed by our property restrictions.
Right. And that's really in response to the housing needs that we have in the state of Massachusetts. And many of you probably know this. It's tough for folks to find something to rent. It's also tough for families when they're maybe aging parents or trying to downsize. Like there's all sorts of things that this will help to solve.
Yes, it's going to boost property values and give you more flexible use. There are actually 3 different kinds of ADUs. And one could be like an interior conversion, which maybe a 3rd floor or a basement is renovated into an independent apartment. Sometimes people do an extension on their home and make it an attached apartment, kind of built off your house. Or the 3rd option is what we're doing at our house. We were building a detached garage behind our Victorian and putting an apartment above. I will tell you, we considered all of those options, and this is what worked best for our lifestyle, our lot, and how we stayed within the restrictions put in place by the town.
Because, and Jane, can I ask you a question? I meant to ask you this when I was looking at your ADU the other day. We have in Wellesley restrictions on square footage per lot size. That still applies for an ADU, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So you still have to make sure that you consult with your local building department and zoning and find out what exactly the restrictions are for square foot and for setback. So, we live in a little urban village, so people don't have very large lots. So it pretty much dictated what we could do and where we could do it.
And I think that was because people were building enormous houses on these postage stamp size lots. And so they really didn't want to have that continue.
Yes,
right?
We could have built it bigger. The limit is 900 square feet for Massachusetts that you can build above grade for an accessory dwelling unit. And ours is actually only going to be about 600. So we could have built bigger, but then they take into account the size of our existing house. So we would have had to go through a lengthier permitting process. And we decided we really just wanted a 1-bedroom rental there and for income. And B, we did not want to spend the extra money or time or the headache of going through the large house review process in Wellesley.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But every town's different. So that's important to know that you should check with your local building department.
Okay. Which is exactly what you just said, is to check the local rules, because if somebody is watching this from Acton, Massachusetts, it'd be very different than what we have to live under in Wellesley.
Exactly. And another thing to think about is, for aesthetic reasons, we really wanted to make ours like the poster child for Wellesley ADUs. So you really want to take into consideration the style of your own home. So we tried to mimic the roofline of our Victorian. We're putting on some like trim to make it kind of match. So, so I wouldn't have stuck a contemporary in my backyard because that would just not be good.
It wouldn't be good. And you should see Jane's house. It's beautiful. And the detail of the Victorian colors on the outside of your house, are you guys going to carry that over a little bit to the garage or no?
Oh, I guess I should.
Yeah.
There's also a restriction that our architect did not include in the first pass, was we had to have a second egress. So we had to change the design, and we added a wrought iron spiral staircase on the outside of the building as a second egress, which was not part of our original plan. So
smart.
But I thought it would look cuter than having a big old staircase going down.
And I love the way you put a glass door there so that it almost works like a window when you're not using the staircase. It's beautiful.
So what are the restrictions on the use of the accessory dwelling unit? There really aren't any. That was another thing that changed with the law in 2025. You no longer have to live in one of them. You could actually build an ADU, move somewhere else, rent out your house, and rent out the ADU.
Which is nice.
Which,
wow.
Believe me, my husband would do if I let him move to Vermont.
Well, it used to be if you had a kitchen, for example, in your basement, that wasn't allowed, right?
Correct.
So this is also really nice for the families that have multi-generational living that need to have a separate, it can be considered an ADU if you would do it.
So Dee Dee and I have had a couple of buyers contact us through this YouTube channel that were asking to move here and find a property where they could provide housing for their parents. So that I think is a really great use. Maybe you'll see kids who want to live independently or move back home. My neighbor said, "Are you building this for your daughter?" And I said, "Oh no, she can live upstairs for free." So we're doing it for a little extra income and to give us flexibility. And maybe in 10 years, I'll live in the ADU and rent out the house and travel the world.
Or it could be your little pied-à-terre, like
yes,
sort of.
It could be indeed.
Yeah.
So in general, it is still as expensive as building anything in your town. So we figured it was like $350 a square foot to build.
Okay.
So even though I'm married to a builder, but I can talk about that when I finish building mine. I'll let you know.
We're going to do a part 2 so you can see hers and actually see how it functions, which will be great.
Which will be fun. It'll be also interesting to see there's not a lot of ADUs out there yet, but it's obviously going to raise the value of homes for resale. So that'll be something that we'll keep an eye on and report back on in 2026 because we'll probably have seen some transactions that had homes with ADUs.
And I imagine the city must be getting ready to figure out how to do that exactly for taxes and other things. Like, will yours, for example, when the permits are signed off on, do they then reassess you for taxes based on the permits being signed off, or how does that work typically? Typically, assessments are done every January, so I bet they will be knocking on my door trying to get in there and have some kind of So formula. The short answer is, my taxes are going to go up. Oh, darn, I forgot about that. I know.
So ADUs are a smart way to make your property work harder for you. If you're curious about what's possible on your property, give us a buzz, send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you figure out what the next steps would be to build an ADU. Or if you're looking to buy a home with an ADU, reach out because we are already on the lookout for you. So remember to like or subscribe, as each week we put out a new video about moving to Greater Boston. And thanks as always for watching.